As a young professional, he was during the Second World War working in Middle Tennessee, and he was on the staff of a state mental hospital, and he was working with severely psychotic, schizophrenic, the major mental illness, and he was working with this patient one day, and he tried everything he knew in Western psychiatry, and nothing was working. And then finally he decided to go to the other side of his brain, and he feigned a psychotic breakdown, at which point the patient got better and mobilized to help him. So I thought...
Who was the patient, Thomas Jefferson?
No, it was a guy named Sean O'Sullivan. I'm just sorry I never had you as a student in a college class. That would have been a lot of fun. All right, any other? Bob, how's Joe doing?
He's doing okay. They took him off his trial, but they're treating him with 2 other drugs that technically is not a trial, it's just a treatment.
Okay.
And hopefully he'll be home in a week or so.
Good. Be good to see him. Okay. Other joys or concerns? Hi, Valerie. Michael?
Put a stone in for all the fathers in the room who father children, and those who haven't fathered children, at least they, I don't know if I like that, but mentored enough people to qualify as fathers.
Thank you.
Just one other comment about Bob. Prior to the operation, Jane said Bob still wanted to do the 1st of July, and she wasn't going to let him. She said, no, I'm taking him out of commission for 2 or 3 weeks. And then I heard after the operation through Molly talked to you.
Bob Hill had a quadruple bypass operation.
I heard from Molly through, who talked to Jane, that he came through beautifully, and the doctor, especially fully recovered. He had had a real lack of energy prior to the operation.
Okay. Any other joys or concerns or stones? Okay. All right. What else are we supposed to do?
My joy is that Michael may not be a father, but he has been like a father.
That's sweet.
Yeah, more.
Kudos to Michael.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't about with kids.
Well, we don't need the gory details in terms of it. All right, let's see. All right, we've lit the we've done the gong, we've lit the candle, we've done joys and concerns. What else are we? Yeah, a checklist.
Yeah.
All right, children go to RE. Well, the offering, we're taking care of that because the offering thing is back there somewhere.
It's right by the name tags.
It's right by the name tags, and you can leave your contributions there. Let's see, do we time for music again?
Well, or we could do it at the end if you like. We're going to do Wichi Taito, which you may have heard. It's based on American Indian chant.
Okay. All right, we'll do that at the end. Okay, is it time for me to talk? Cool.
Sure. Time's up.
Now, Phil, you touched my heart when you said you called me last night and said you would come and support me. I didn't.
No, I had the pleasure just yesterday taking some papers out. I make little notes on a piece of paper and I put in this pocket that I forget I have it. And I was very much interested realizing that you were going to talk in, you haven't given me the words for the language spoken in Macho Picchu at the time. Quechua.
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 Quechua. Okay. Quechua, the language. Okay. All right. The title of my talk is Solstices, the Rhythm of the Cosmos. The players that I want to talk about today are the Earth, the Sun, the Moon, and the stars. So this is a big picture talk. Now, The good news is this is not an attempt, however subliminal on my part, to turn you into mini shamans. That's going to take a lot longer training. But what I want to do is focus on the cosmic context of our lives, simply because I think it's very important. Now, the first thing to explain, and many of you are familiar with this, we have 7 chakras. We have 7 energy centers. Now, I've explained these to American college classes for a long time, and one young lady raised her hand and said, I thought chakras were Hindu. And I said, no, everybody's got them. They're like livers and kidneys and heart and so forth and so on. We have 7 chakras, our base chakra, our belly chakra, and our solar plexus. 1, 2, and 3 in ascending order. And they connect us to the earth. They ground us. Now, sometimes when I work with people, they say, well, once you fix them, do they stay fixed? No, different things happen. At the end of June a year ago, I took a short plane ride from Tri-Cities to Atlanta, and then a real long plane ride from Atlanta to Lima, Peru. And when I got in Lima, Peru, my bottom 3 chakras were out. Of course, when you go to Peru, it's not hard to find a shaman who will set them back up for you, or I can set my own, actually. So there are 3 grounding chakras. So whenever I get on a plane, for example, 6 months later, I was on a plane again from Atlanta to Madrid. At 30,000, 35,000 feet in the air, I would think something would be wrong with you if you felt grounded. Okay, so it's a temporary outage, simply because you're not in contact with the earth very much. Then our middle chakra, our heart chakra, is love of self, love of family and friends. It connects us horizontally with one another and with the human community. So we got the 3 base ones connect us to the earth. The heart chakra connects us horizontally. And then we have throat, third eye, and crown, which connects us to the divine. So we got 3 that connect us upward, 3 that connect us downward, and the one in the center connects us with one another. All right, the first thing to talk about is the earth. Came across an interesting book about a year ago by Clinton Ober. It's called Earthing, subtitled The Most Important Health Discovery Ever, question mark. And what the book is about is we're awash in a world of protons, positively charged, those little guys we learned about in high school science. Remember that? Okay, and where do we get protons from? Our TVs, our computers, our cars, our machines. We're kind of awash with protons. And what the book points out is what we're short on is electrons, the negatively charged things, and that to be, quote, healthy, we need to have a balance between the protons, which are positive, and which are good and power all these wonderful electronic gadgets, but then the electrons. Well, how do you get electrons, negatively charged ones? Well, you can walk on the earth. Well, I tried that on the creeper trail, but people leave bottle caps and God knows what else there, so it's hazardous to your feet. But we get positive electrons by contact with the earth. But it's amazing to me, I've met people in larger cities that live and work in high-rises and don't ever have contact with the earth. So the ways we have of coping with that is, you see them around quite a bit, is Himalayan salt crystal lamps, okay? And I even found one that plugs into my computer, and every time I turn my computer on, boom, it goes on too. in terms of it. And the other thing is the earthing folks have a website, and you can get sheets and other things. And I sleep on one of their sheets, and it just has a little plug that attaches to the sheet, and then it goes in the third prong underneath, the grounding prong. So there are ways of trying to balance the positive. We generally don't have a problem with positive electrons. We've got too many of them, if actually be known, with the negative electron. So in Quechua tradition in Peru, a big theme for them is living in harmony with the environment. And I was thinking of that. There have been some contractors working, and they're not there yet, but they're on their way for solar panels. So with a little bit of luck, at the end of June, I should be off the grid. So, and the psychological victory at the end of that, the last thing the contractors do is they call up AEP, and they have to come out, and it's not state law, interesting enough, it's federal law, that they have to come out and install a meter that works both ways. And then the excess power that I send to AEP, then they send me a check on a monthly basis. Now, if somebody asked me, are you going to make a lot of money off the power company? I said, I don't have a horse in that race. I'm just interested in breaking even, and, instead of wondering how much my power bill will be, I'll wonder how much they're going to send me. So that's pretty cool. So connecting to the earth is an important part of being a human being. Now, speaking of those solar panels, they're setting up, they've already set it up, a pole mount and so forth. And Neil, the head of the project, comes with his 2 electricians. And he was explaining the system to me, and he said, you're going to have to go out a couple times a year and adjust the panels so that they catch the sun in terms of it. And I said, how many times a year? And he said, about 2. And the electrician said, now I'd do 3 or 4. And then the light bulb went off in my head, and I said, we'll do it every solstice. Ta-da! It won't be hard to remember. All right, so my question to you all is, how do you connect to the earth? Do you ever work? Do you ever grow anything? Do you ever walk on the earth? The connection with the earth is a part of what it is to be human, and we do that through 3 of our chakras. Now, the second part is the moon. It's been long known in human affairs of the effect it has on human emotions. From 1990 to 96, I directed an agency, Pastoral Counseling Services of Maryland and Baltimore. And I was talking to the office manager one day, and she said, this is a little out there, but when it's the full moon, we get a 20% rise in client calls. And I was a bit more of a scientist in those days, so I said, well, why don't we track that? And sure enough, we tracked it for a year, and there was about a 15 to 20% rise in calls in terms of the moon. So when we say, well, moon doesn't have anything to do with us, it has a lot to do with us. And you've heard the phrase, once in a blue moon. And that phrase comes, I learned this a couple years ago, from the fact that there are 13 moons in a year. So 1 month gets 2 moons, and that's the blue moon, once in a blue moon. Now, in my tradition, I do full moon fire ceremonies, which is an earth-based fire ceremony. And we got some really interesting stuff going on cosmically. It's Tuesday, but we're not going to have a fire ceremony on Tuesday. We're going to have the summer equinox ceremony on Wednesday, to which you're all personally invited. Wednesday at 7 p.m. And most of you know where I live. If you don't see me afterwards, I'll give you directions. And we'll have a summer equinox fire ceremony. So we'll connect with the earth, but we'll also connect with the moon, and we'll also connect with the sun. So you get 3 of the 4. Now, you should bring 2 things with you. You should bring a death arrow and a life arrow. Now, please, we're not into assassinating some out-of-control relatives or anything like that. The death arrow is simply a stick. Now, don't go into the undergraduate thing thinking the bigger the stick, the more powerful the healing will be. Little stick is just fine. If you don't have a stick, come anyway. I have 10 1/4 acres of sticks. God will provide. And we do a prayer service thanking God for the good earth, which nourishes us on a daily basis. And then you blow into the stick, the death arrow, the things that no longer serve you, the things that your life would be blessed if these things were no longer in your life, the negative stuff, the stuff that you want to say goodbye to, adios to, and so forth. And at my direction, you'll put that in the fire. Then we'll do some other prayers and chants, and then we put the life arrow in, which is, and it's important that you put the death arrow in first because you want to clear the negative stuff out. Then after that, you put the life arrow in, which are the things that you want to manifest in your life in the immediate 6 months to the next year future. So Wednesday at 7. Now, I've done the fire ceremonies with myself and a bunch of spirit guides. I'm never alone. And the record in the last 2 years has been 12 people. The largest fire ceremony I was at was one in Peru, where there were 200 people drumming. That was pretty awesome. So, okay, the full moon. Now, I had a moon experience. I went to visit my friend that was here recently, Janet Ridings, in Tenerife last December, and so we went up on Tay-Day. Tenerife is a volcanic island, 785 square miles, and Tay-Day has behaved since 1909. It has not popped in 103 years. The question is, when is it going to? I don't know. But we went up one night with another couple, a shaman couple. Fritz is a German, and his wife Olivia is a Amazonian Indian. And so we went up to look at the stars and so forth. And after we parted company, I was in a passenger in Janet's car, and we were coming down off the mountain. The mountains, we weren't at the top. The mountain is 13,600 feet, so it's a little up there, and you can see an amazing part of that. You can see all the islands from there. And suddenly something caught my attention. I said, Janet, something's wrong. And she said, are you all right? And I said, no, I'm fine. I said, the moon is down there. We were so high. For the first time in my life, I was looking down on the moon. Yeah, it was totally weird. I mean, and I thought, it's supposed to be up there, and it's down there. All right, so full moon fire ceremonies. Now, the sun, the summer solstice this year is Wednesday, June the 20th. The opposite solstice is the winter solstice, which is generally about the 20th or 21st. The date, I think, varies a little bit. And then we have equinoxes on the other side, so to speak. The spring one, usually about March 20th or thereabouts. And then the autumn equinox or the fall equinox, which is the 21st of September or close to it. All right, so We have the earth, we have the moon, we have the sun, and the last is we have the stars. We did a lot of stargazing on Tede because they don't have any industry on the island, and they have some observatories that rival those that are in Hawaii. So we could see the Pleiades, the constellations, the North Star, and all of that. So what I'm talking about is hopefully just to make all of us a little bit more aware that these are the contexts of our lives. We get nourishment from the earth, we get nourishment from the sun, from the moon, from the stars, and these are part of the context in which you and I live. So I hope you have a happy solstice, and I hope to see most, if not all of you, and bring friends and neighbors, or bring your pets, bring animals. We have animals in the forest. Okay. All right, let's see. Closing words. Got some more closing words for you guys. This comes from my teacher, Alberto Villotto, and it relates to the opening words. Quote, "When you let your ego rule and insist that you must control events." Has anybody ever done that other than me? Try to control events in life, comma, you end up in a constant struggle against the universe. Has anybody ever won that? No. Okay. So that's the closing words, and now we have music.